Welcome to this special session on mindfulness on a very special day, what we call as a mindfulness day. I didn't realize that there was a mindfulness day, to be very honest. But it's always good to have special days carved out so that we are able to focus on a particular concept, be it Mother's Day, Friendship Day. There is an extra attention we pay to that particular concept. And so today we have this opportunity to zoom into something that's very close to my heart, something I feel has changed a lot of things for me. And I mean, I think I heard this word maybe 7-8 years ago, but then and I tried to understand, made some changes in life based on mindfulness, but I had this opportunity more recently, about a year and a half ago, when I took up during the pandemic. I just chose to do a more deeper dwelling into this concept called mindfulness. So many of you are aware that I completed a course in becoming a mindfulness trainer, after which I've had opportunities to train some of our Chrysalians, speak about mindfulness in various forums and all that. And today, again, it's an opportunity given to me by Chrysalis to speak to you all about mindfulness. I'm sure most of you here have heard of this term called mindfulness. So it's not anymore a new concept, I would say. You know, everybody knows something about mindfulness, because I think in the last 6-7 years is when a lot of scientific papers, research, and a lot of amplification has happened to this term called mindfulness. This is not a new concept. This is what perhaps our sages, monks, and all these people, who have gone deeper into self-discovery, going deeper into oneself, have figured out, and there have been different names for it. But the contemporary, the days now, I think, has brought in a very scientific angle to this. So that's good for us, because always science comes with a lot more substantiation. Impact is measured. So there is a lot more faith and belief when such concepts come to life. And so I'm glad this is happening. And there's so much of talks and everything on YouTube about mindfulness. I'm just picking up a lot of what I know, perhaps what I have experienced, what I'm experiencing, and as a reminder to each one of you on how we can change and transform our lives by learning not only to understand mindfulness, but also to live and apply mindfulness, right? As we are starting, I wanted to just ask you all to, I hope you have a pen and paper with you. If I may be asking you a few questions, it's important that you note them down and try to dwell on it. Though I would love to do this in person, but I think virtually also it helps me to reach several more people across in different locations. So in a way, it's good we are doing it on Zoom as well. The question I have for you is, what makes or what will make you happy according to you? Just note down 3 points or 4 points that really makes you feel very, very happy. I know you may have a long list, but try to put down 4 or 5 things that come first to your mind when you think of this question: what makes or what will make you happy? Done? I hope you have all written your answers. So now you can actually look at your happiness list, and you have a list of things that you've put down, I hope, of what makes you or what will make you happy. In this list, see if you can map each of this item in your list to three broad categories. Okay. One is possessions. I think this title will make me happy. I think the title is a possession, if you can say so, right? Or I just need a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler. I think I'll be very happy that I don't have to fight the public transport. I can go. I think all I need is a decent looking, apartment where I can live. These are all possessions. So in your happiness list, see if you have items that can be marked to possessions. The others will be relationships. Um, I want to see my mom do this, my spouse do this, my children get awards, get rewards. Most of these are about relationships. You want to have a happy relationship with someone, you want a caring a friend, you want somebody whom you can confide to. All this also makes you feel happiness. And the second category we are talking about is relationships, right? We think that if this relationship happens, then I'm happy. If I get married, then I'm happy. If I'm out of this marriage, I'm happy. Many things like this also fall in our list. And thirdly, it could be about experiences. I am very happy when I'm in the hills. When the temperature is a lot cooler, I'm happy in summer, I'm happy in winter. I'm happy when I'm traveling, I'm happy when I'm vacationing, I'm happy when I'm in a school, right? I'm happy when there is an experience of teaching someone. I'm happy when I'm doing a talk on mindfulness and people are coming back and saying this made a big change in my life, right? All these can be called as experiences. So invariably, I think your list of 4 or 5 or how many ever you wrote about happiness or what makes you happy you'll be able to map to these three categories. I don't know if you have something that you were not able to map it, but I don't think so. If you look at it, it's largely connected to one of these three. Now, why am I talking about this? Because most of the time we think our happiness is dependent on a particular outcome, and that outcome can be acquiring something, right? That thing can be experiencing something, or that can be about getting into a particular kind of relationship with some kind of a person, right? So we always think that happiness is something that is external to us, that something happens to us. And this is a fundamental problem that human beings have, that there is always a feeling, a perception of happiness being something that is dependent on. I think I get this target this year, I'll be very happy. But true happiness, they say, is not about acquisitions or any of the categories that we spoke about, but it is about how your brain, how you can actually train your brain to process the world in a particular fashion, right? I know this is something that's come out of Harvard University, where they've done a very longitudinal research for several years to really see out of 50 years of life. They tracked some people and they said, now can I find out who has been happy from the time they got out of college to maybe they were all in their 70s or 80s. And that research has actually, apart from understanding the brain, understanding the mind, has shown that happiness, temporary pleasure is different. What we are talking about is happiness, and we all want happiness in our lives. So it is all about how do we train our brain, or how do we understand and process this world in a particular fashion, so that our happiness is not constantly chasing something, constantly looking at, hey, now I've got this, next I want to do that, right? And that's a never ending, it's like trying to catch your own shadow. And that is something that is extremely important for us to know, so that we can lead our lives in a very, very happy manner. So I think today I'm taking this opportunity when, I was given this opportunity, I grabbed it, I must say, because even though it's only a 1 hour session, for me also, I feel my responsibility is to share some of the things that I've been learning in the last couple of years, pursuing through more reading. And I know I have a long way to go. It's not like, we have all achieved everything, but just understanding and wanting to go deeper into such depth about our life and what is happiness, etc., makes you feel like a brand new person every day. I can tell you that every morning when you get up, you feel like a brand new person. So I thought it's time that all of us who are listening to this, mostly Chrysalians, it's time to turn over a new leaf, right? I hope you got the mail where, you were asked to bring a leaf. I don't know how many of you have a leaf with you, but if you do, take that leaf. If you don't, take anything on your table. It could be a old pencil box that you've been using for several years now. It could be a pen, but preferably a leaf, because it's always beautiful to look at something that is a part of nature. And leaf, according to me, all of us feel happy when we are in a garden or when we are amidst a tree. I don't know whether you've thought of why does this happen. There's something beautiful about nature, that it spreads a lot of vibes and energy to you, right? So time to turn over a new leaf. So I had this question: have you seen a leaf? And why have I quoted seen? If I were to ask you for some synonyms for seen, you know, synonyms or words that mean something like seen, I'm sure you'll come out with various words. You will say watch, look, appear, whatever, right? There are so many things, observe, notice, etc. So I think, yeah, I can see some of you have typed there. Observe is another answer. So there are many such words that come to your mind. And if you just have some time, right? Yeah, somebody said view, correct. View, watch. And all these, though they are in English mostly called synonyms, they don't really mean the exact thing, right? That's the beauty of any language. You're actually um, looking, if you look at each word that I have just, and some of you have typed here, they all mean, they have a different connotation, have a different nuanced meaning. So when I say seen a leaf, maybe every day you come, open your window or the door, and you might just see some green thing, and yeah, it's morning. Then some of you go deeper, go and look at the uh, plant closely, the leaf closely. You find some beautiful dewdrops on the leaf. You're very, very happy. It gives you some kind of a beautiful feeling, right? Now, if you have a leaf with you, if you have it, or any other object that we were talking about, try to just carefully observe it for about 30 seconds. Just observe it. Don't look at anything else. Don't let your mind wander. Just look at it closely. 30 seconds is a lot of time when you know really wonder. It is a long time. So I'm sure you have. Now, I wish I can ask you these questions, but just would like to reflect, and some of you can type your answers. What are those things that you noticed in the leaf, or any object that you had in your hair, that you might not have seen earlier because you were just giving 30 minutes of your rapt attention to it? What are some of those new things that you saw? I'm sure you've seen something. Never seen perhaps the symmetry, the beautiful symmetry that is there in the leaf. Some of you would have seen, hey, this kind of a color that I've never noticed in a leaf before. I've seen the same leaf, but I've never noticed this. And then there is a beauty about this particular leaf because it's got a very different shape, not just a typical leaf shape, but there's something about it. Or like I said, any other object, when you've seen it with rapt attention, that's the key word here, that it is about looking at it keenly, keen observation without distraction. You are able to appreciate the nuances, and there are some new knowledge, new things that come to the fore, and that is so important in life. So I think this is exactly what I wanted to communicate through this, that it is very interesting that this kind of attention without distraction is exactly what we typically mean when we talk about mindfulness. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So what is mindfulness? I think, like I said, many of you would have heard this. If you just go and Google mindfulness, there is tons of definitions and papers and reading that you can do. Don't get distracted, because we are in a world of information explosion, as they call it. There's too much information out there. And in seeking clarity on mindfulness, you may completely lose your mindfulness. So while you must pick up some interesting reading and slowly digest it over a period of time, do not go overhog. So today is Mindfulness Day. Chitra has come and spoken something about mindfulness. So just let me go and start Googling, forget everything else, and you're being carried away. That's not the point. But we should understand this term, mindfulness, very clearly. What does it mean? If you look at it as a definition, it is simply paying attention to what's happening in the present moment. I am in front of this Zoom screen, and I have a purpose to come here and speak to you about a particular concept. So right now, my mind is 100% attentive on this present moment and the purpose of this present moment. I'm not getting distracted by so many other issues, personal, official, some emails are coming. I'm not getting distracted, right? I'm paying complete attention to what's happening. Similarly, you have all set aside this 1 hour. Somebody told you that there is this session, or you got a communication, so you want to come and understand. There is an element of curiosity in your mind, right? So the mind, body, and environment, you're building an attitude of curiosity and kindness. Why do we say kindness in just listening, kindness in just speaking? You're very unkind to yourself when you are not giving total attention to what you are currently doing. Just think about it. Kindness not just means you giving something to somebody, you doing something to help others. Kindness also means that you are giving yourself the care and the attention that a moment deserves. Curiosity, because you are waiting to learn something, you are waiting to uncover, discover something. And you can do that only when you're mindfully paying attention to what's happening in the present moment. You can note this definition. It's a very interesting definition. I may not be doing justice to this definition by just flashing the screen and giving you a 1 minute explanation of this, but I would recommend that write this out, or take a picture, keep it with you, and whenever you have the time, keep coming. There are some words that I have highlighted here that you can go deep into and try to understand what this could mean, right? And do that very mindfully, right? So just to recap, mindfulness simply means paying attention to what's happening in the present moment. Now is so important. There are so many books on the beauty of now, right? And the present moment in the mind, in your mind, body, environment, you are paying attention with an attitude of curiosity and kindness. Now, why should I be mindful? What is this new concept? Why can't I just be doing what I'm going to be doing? What is the benefit? Obviously, there is this huge, I would say, a renaissance of knowledge on mindfulness, a huge deliberation across the world in the scientific community, in the spiritual community, in religious communities, even in schools today, right? There is so much talk and deliberation about mindfulness because scientifically there are proven benefits of living a life of mindfulness. Okay. Now, what are these benefits? Now, science has proven that if you are mindful, you can perform much better, be it a student, be it a professional, be it an artist, a dancer, a painter. The performance is always, you want to give your best performance. You can be a salesperson, you can be a teacher, you want to perform well. That's what we are all working for, right? It boosts performance. There's a sharp focus, and the focus makes you feel connected and happy, right? You can see that there are very tangible benefits, and some of this is just what you can feel. I cannot tell you what I feel. I can tell you what I feel, but unless it is there, then it is all about how you feel it, right? People may not understand how you feel. You feel that I'm so aware these days. People will be like, what does it mean? You may not even be able to explain, right? So, what I mean here is, sorry, just a minute. Yeah. There is better health as a result of mindfulness, which is, I think, the biggest thing we all want. We all want good health, pain-free living. You get that out of mindfulness. We all many times feel stressed in life, right? We feel so stressed. Oh my God, I'm just waiting to hang up my boots. I don't want to be in this job anymore. I don't want to be working. I think I just want to retire at 40. These are all coming because you feel very stressed. Mindfulness, increased mindfulness, consistent mindfulness. Science is proving, medical science is proving that it relieves you of stress and you're able to cope and lead your life in a more connected and happy manner. And physically also, it improves immunity. We've all seen 2 years, 2.5 years, what COVID really showed us was how important health is, how important immunity is. How many of us have been like, experiencing the immunity or the lack of it in all these years? We saw so many deaths around us. We saw so many people falling ill and with long-term health effects. And it's more and more, it's showing us that immunity and all that is so important for us to live a healthy life. So mindfulness gives us all these benefits, and it's not just I'm putting them in a slide. These have all been published in medical journals and research community. Medicine, spiritual, like I said, has proven this. Whenever we are talking about impact, outcome, results, what I want to achieve as a goal, you should also look at what are the impediments or what are the obstacles for me to achieve. I want to get so many marks. I want to do this in my company. I want to sell more. I want to write better lessons. I want to teach better in class. I want my children in class to perform better. Why am I not able to do that? What are the obstacles? I think it's very important to not just fix on the goal, but also look at what is stopping us from achieving the goal. So what are the obstacles to mindfulness? Why can't we all simply be mindful all the time? It's next to impossible, right? Why? What are the obstacles? It's very important that you understand the obstacles to even know how to overcome these obstacles and achieve the goal that we want to achieve. And here today we are talking about the goal of living a mindful life, intentional life, not just saying I go with the flow, right? Okay, I don't know what I'm planning tomorrow, I just go. No, give it your attention. Your life deserves your attention. So what are the obstacles to mindfulness? Restlessness, right? We are not happy in a particular job. We are thinking, what next? Nothing wrong in analyzing and seeing where the problems are, but simply being restless, it doesn't help you at all, right? Doubts, starting from self-doubt. Am I capable of doing this? Oh, they invited me to this. Am I even capable of talking? Doubt comes in our mind, right? So that's a big obstacle. Distractions, so many distractions around us. We are gossipy. We are trying to work, and then you're hearing, some colleagues chatting, and we want to know, hey, what is happening there? You want to be you just get distracted, and you lose focus on a simple mail or a good document that you are preparing, because sound, people moving around you, you just get distracted. The fourth very, very important point, which sometimes we are not even aware, unconscious, we are not conscious of, is our nature to be judgmental and to be biased. We are biased. Most of the time, there is a bias. Simply looking at a colleague, looking at your customer, looking at somebody, a service provider, who's coming to, let's say a trainer comes and trains you, you are biased. Oh, I don't think this guy looks like he knows anything. He's looking so young. I've been in this profession for so many years. What is he going to be teaching me? Lot of biases, not even understanding that person. You stop listening to him. Even today it can happen, right? I'm coming, somebody has told you, please log in, Chitra is giving a talk, but you are biased. Oh, this Chitra keeps talking about something, I don't even understand what she's saying. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this is important. Judgments bias, that is an obstacle. Then it won't allow you to listen totally. Paying attention fully doesn't allow you to do that. Multitasking. I'm listening. I want to understand what she's saying, but my phone is beeping, right? So let me check my WhatsApp. I think it will be an important message that I was waiting for since the morning. We don't have the courage, I would say courage, to put this aside and say, next 1 hour, I'm going to give myself to listening to this particular thing. I've seen some people have raised hand. Can you just put your questions in the Q&A so that I can take it in the last 10 minutes or so, because it may be impeding the flow if I'm going to be answering some questions. But please go to the Q&A and type so that I get to read the questions, and appropriate time I will respond to them. I see some hands are raised, so I'm telling you this. I'd love to understand what questions you have, etc. So multitasking and technology. When I talked about WhatsApp, it's a part of technology. Or I'm typing something as a message, very important message to somebody, and at that time, some other window gets open, some other WhatsApp is coming in. So I pause here and I go there, right? Don't we all do this? Or when I'm opening my laptop, there is something else coming. So I'm just totally going off to see that. So I'm not even paying attention to that particular task that I'm on. So all these are big, big impediments. The reason why mindfulness is being talked so much now is also because distractions are becoming more and more in today's world. There is Twitter, there is Facebook, there is Instagram, and Instagram feeds are coming. One friend has gone to a beautiful location, gone. My life is gone. What am I doing here sitting in Chennai all the time, sitting in Mumbai all the time? I wish I can take off on a holiday like that. So there is so much of peer pressure. Today, there are words that have not existed 10 years ago, like FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. They say FOMO. Am I missing out that, she called me, I couldn't go because my office required me to go for something else. You're neither here nor there. So these are all big impediments to leading a life of mindfulness. And that is when you get into what is popularly called today as autopilot. You know that autopilot, when I say autopilot, you may say, yeah, yeah, yeah. There are autopilot cars today. The technology is improved. I'm not talking about those autopilots. I'm talking about the brain going into an autopilot mode. Have you heard this terminology when we also say that, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing in this job that I'm in or my life. I'm just going through the motions. Every day I'm doing the same thing. There is no passion. There is no beauty that I'm able to look at in that. There is no concentration. I'm just doing, I just go, same thing I do every day. That is called autopilot mode. Some of these things we think it is okay to do autopilot mode. For example, I can say brushing the teeth. You may think, what is the big deal about it? Every morning you just wake up, you brush. I've been doing this for 40 years now. So what are you talking about? No, even a small thing like that same sambar that you're making, rotis you're making, there can be more attention. You don't need to go into an autopilot mode. So why can't you just do it in autopilot mode? Because mindfulness comes as a contradiction, as a rival to autopilot, and it helps you to appreciate the beauty. Go to the why. Why am I doing this? And what is this beauty of brushing this teeth? Why should I do that? I just took a simple example, having a shower. How many of us just go there, do, then when you come out, did I put the soap or no? How many times did I do it? Am I clean or not? Even these doubts come. So can you focus that 5 minutes in that tea, when you're drinking the tea, when I am having the shower? Can I just focus on that? There are questions coming. I'll definitely take it up at the end of the session. Let me complete the slides and mindfully, and then I will take these questions up for sure. I hope I have some time left for it as well. So autopilot mode is something that is making our lives leading. Again, medical science says when your brain goes into autopilot mode, most of the time you get into depression, you get into anxiety, you get into boredom, and boredom, to the effect of that becoming a depression for you. You start thinking that nothing is going right in my life. There is no joy. There is no, what life is this? My life is so boring. That happens because you've moved into an autopilot mode. How to stop this autopilot mode? Now, many of you may be wondering, yeah, I think what you're saying is right. I seem to be going through the motions every day. I mark the attendance, I do something that my manager or my coordinator tells me, then I'm back, same bus, same car. That's all my life is. How to stop it? It's very, very important. I will give you some tips. How to stop it? The only antithesis to it, antidote, is mindfulness practice. And how do we practice mindfulness? There are informal practices and there are formal practices. Informal practices, you can try the following. When you're walking, maybe many of you do walking in the morning or evening, just a 15-minute walk, either on your terrace or around, or go to a park, etc. Walk mindfully. Just try it, right? Just try walking, focusing on the same route that you're in, focusing on how your steps are. Is it fast? Is there a rhythm to it? Am I going at a particular speed that I want to go in, etc.? Instead of getting distracted by everything around you and again autopilot walking. No, try it. When you're eating, those days, it was such a practice, a ritual, in fact, I would say, in most of our religions, to focus, bring mindful attention through a small prayer. I see that in every religion, right? There is a small, nice prayer that we are supposed to be doing. And we should know that most of these rituals have come in to bring in certain way of living, and mindful living is a part of many of our religions. eating, pray, collect yourself, try to taste it well, rather than, just watching TV. When I'm guilty of that many times. When I'm eating alone, I tend to switch on the television, or, pick the phone and eat. No, can we set aside? After all, eating is going to take 10-15 minutes, right? A elaborate dinner will take you 15-20 minutes. And in that 15-20 minutes, nothing will happen if you're not looking at your phone. Nothing will happen if somebody's trying to call you, right? I mean, it is 1 out of 1,000 times that there is an emergency call, right? But we think every call is emergency. We try to pick up the phone. And so, like I said, brushing your teeth every morning. And you see here, this lady's picture here, she's brushing the teeth with her left hand. That makes you focus a little more, because it's not habitual for you to use your left hand. If you are a right-handed person, you're constantly using. Can you take a brush on the other hand and brush, so that you are focusing a lot more, right? When you're writing, try to use your other hand, and write, so that there is more attention, right? So these are all some informal practices that you can do for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and you will see a difference in the way you're able to bring a withdrawing from many distractions. You're able to bring attention. And you should remember that more and more thoughts that come into your brain, it is like a traffic jam. How many of us really like a traffic jam? I don't think any of us like a traffic jam. If mostly we say that city is not good because it's always full of so much heavy traffic. That route is not good because there's so much traffic. We don't like the honking, the number of cars, there is pollution. Same thing happens to your brain. We should know that same thing happens to the brain, that we are able to not enjoy that moment, right? So what I'm trying to say here is, imagine your brain is always full of traffic, and you want to give it that early morning road feel. When there is early morning, you go to the road, that whole road looks very different to you. The same road, how it is at 10 a.m. and how it is at 5:30 a.m. or at 6 a.m., you will see a huge difference, and you like that, right? So you want your brain also to have those moments of less traffic, easy road. And that the brain deserves, because it gets renewed. It gets really charged. And that charge is important for you to conduct your day in a good fashion. Try that, right? These are all small activities, informal practices, as it's called in mindfulness, that can help you to recharge your brain, give it a smooth, traffic-free feel. Brain is like a real estate. Brain is like a road. And all of us don't like it to be. Even in our house, we have a good festive look, and there are 50 guests coming. You love it. But after that, you're like, I'm just waiting for the guests to go. I want some moment of peace. I want to be by myself. So your brain also wants that, right? So it's very important. But there are also formal practices. So again, I'm seeing people raising their hands. I'm requesting you to just put your questions in the Q&A, so that I can take it, because I may not be able to ask you for your questions in the middle of this session. It's a very small session. If you're interested, please write to us, to Chrysalis, or speak to people in Chrysalis. We will conduct some sessions for you, longer sessions on mindfulness. Okay. So, yeah, formal practice. I want you to try one now, which is called one cycle of breath. All of you, I hope you are not driving the car and listening to this. If you are doing that, don't do this. Otherwise, if you're sitting, wherever you're sitting, just try this exercise. As you're sitting, close your eyes and slowly start focusing on your breath, your breathing. We are all breathing 24 hours, 7 days a week, but we hardly, most of the time, it is all autopilot. You're not appreciating your breath. You are not focusing on your breath, seeing if your breathing is right or not, wrong. Actually, Today, again, like mindfulness, there are so many readings and research done on breath, which again, in the Indian culture, our sages and so many others have done it millions of years ago, focusing, regulating. The Yoga Sutras talk about breathing. Ashtanga Yoga talks about pranayama. All these are focusing on the prana or the breath that you have, right? Now I'm asking you to close your eyes. Feel the inhalation. You can even count. Take a long inhalation, which can be like 4 counts or 5 counts. And then slowly exhale again for 4 counts or 5 counts. Equal breathing is good to start with. Inhale for 4 counts. Exhale for 4 counts. Now, one cycle of this breath periodically during the day can be a formal practice. What you did now, let's say every 1 hour, or if you are a teacher, every 40 minutes before you go from one class to another class. If you are an office worker, 1 hour, once every hour. If you're finishing a meeting, try to do one cycle of breath, which again, remember your brain's road, the road called your brain is becoming recharged. You're like, when you're waiting in the traffic signal, what happens? You're slowing down, you're pressing the brake, you may go to a neutral gear, you're standing. Take that kind of a pause, right? This is a very, very interesting formal practice, but you need to remind yourself and you need to consciously do this one cycle of breath. We all know that breath and your emotions, your feelings are deeply connected, right? When you are scared, you try to listen to your breath. It'll be, heart will be beating faster, we say, right? Your breath is also like very shoddy. When you're angry, the breath is like fast and short breaths. The longer the breath, the more higher quality of life that you will lead. So try to learn some of these breathing techniques, but to start with, even a one cycle of breath, observing it and doing it every 1 hour is going to be very liberating for you all. You can come back and tell me if it really helped. And I know many of us in autopilot world also feel like I'm working 26 hours a day. And that's the feeling sometimes I want to also give other people, right? We love saying we are busy. We love telling people, oh my God, I have so many meetings in a day. I have back-to-back meetings. I have back-to-back work. We have gotten into this situation when we don't like Mondays. We all have a culture where we say that Friday, thank God it's Friday. And then again, get into the cycle. We feel like we are working 26 hours a day, right? Many of you, I'm sure you're nodding right now to what I'm saying. I just want you to say A to Z to yourself, A, B, C, D, quickly. Done? You must have done this in like maybe 10 seconds, right? Because it's so much your second nature. This is like what I learned when I just entered school when I was in grade LKG or something. I can say it like that in 10 seconds, right? I'm sure all of you said that. Now, say 1 to 26. Now, A to Z is 26 letters of the alphabet. Now you can say 1 to 26, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, another 10 seconds, you are able to say, no problem. Why are you even testing me on all this, right? Fine. This is a task given to you, a simple task of saying the letters of the English alphabet in a short time. Some of you would have said it in 7 seconds, 8 seconds, whatever, and 1 to 26. Now, suppose I tell you, Say A1, B2, C3, D4, up to Z26. Can you try to yourselves? Or if you have somebody with you, try to tell them. Okay, how many of you gave up? It's not that easy, right? It's not as easy as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I have to think of the alphabet, a letter in the alphabet, and I have to think of the number. And sometimes I'm like D4, E5 or 6, you get confused, right? I'm sure all of you are agreeing to this because I've done this with several groups. And this 10-second thing then gets extended. People just drop off and they say, no, 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 I'm not going to do this foolish thing. This is exactly what we mean by multitasking, right? The brain always struggles when you're giving two different tasks at a single time. This is what we call as multitasking. This is very simple example. Multitasking has a huge connotation. I'm not trying to oversimplify it, but this is an example, right? We are trying to talk to somebody, I do that many times and I'm trying to learn not to do that. I'm on a business call and then I'll be giving instructions. If I'm working from home, I'll be giving instructions to somebody at home, right? So we are trying to manage everything. The simplest thing, I'm not saying don't do that. Simplest thing would be if it's important for you to talk to somebody and give instructions at that point of time, you just have to tell the person on the phone, hey, can you just wait? I'll come back to you in 30 seconds, right? Then you are pausing a particular task, going to another task, and you are completing it. So that is why we say multitasking does not work. Every task that we do needs a separate focus. Listening to music and typing something, again, the primary task there is typing something, right? This is just in the background. But if you want to really listen to music, identify the raga, enjoy the lyrics, you can't do that in typing, because many people tell me I listen to music and at the same time I do. That's not a task, right? So we have to understand that this can lead to exhaustion. Switching quickly between tasks, it comes at a cost. You should always remember that your brain is something you're born with, you're endowed with. God has given you this, God or the universe or whatever you believe in. Science has given you this, and you want to preserve it, you want to sharpen it. That's your responsibility. If somebody gives you a gift, you have to preserve it. And if it's a gift that can grow like a plant, you don't want the plant to die, right? So it's important that you don't get into multitasking. And again, I'm telling you, even I've been there, done that. We all take pleasure in saying that I love multitasking. I can multitask. Actually, you cannot multitask. Now, for us, Chrysalians, or any of the community that's come here today, our teachers, our principals, active listening can be mindfulness at work for you. You want to listen carefully, and it can be to anybody. It can be to your customer, it can be to your peer, colleague, anyone. Listen actively, because everybody deserves the kindness of your time, right? When you're writing a lesson, and it can be curriculum writers, teachers, coordinators, are you mindfully writing the lesson, or are you on a autopilot mode? When you are training, when you are teaching, are you in that 40 minutes giving 1 hour, giving absolute mindfulness? In meetings, are you being mindful? All these can be a very formal time when you want to put mindfulness at work, right? It gives us an attitude of calm, kindness, more importantly, open-mindedness. Only when we are open-minded, we can learn new things. We can get into adventures in life. We can experience good things. Otherwise, you're like, no, I don't want to go to that party because all these people are gossiping all the time. Judgment, bias comes, and you're denying yourself some good experiences, I would say. Now, is it easy to be mindful? I can say this in 1 hour and go away. The challenges are, we all say, what practice? Yeah, I don't have time to even breathe. How many of us say that? I don't have time to breathe. Is it not a stupid statement to make? But we say that all the time. I don't have time. I can't do this. I can't do all this. I don't think this meant for me. Mindfulness is not something that's meant for me. It's boring. That's another thing everybody says, right? Oh, it's so boring. I like to be all the time acting fast. We don't like to slow down. But your brain deserves that, right? What are the opportunities for mindfulness? Small daily practice, you know, leading to health, resilience, happier content life, and better relationships. So mindfulness can actually, these are the opportunities that you can tap. I want to complete today's session by saying what can be mindfulness mantras. Can I try? I will try at least one informal practice every day for a few minutes. We spoke about certain informal practice starting from brushing our teeth. At least one informal practice every day for a few minutes. I'm asking you for a few minutes. I will allot time in my schedule for formal practice, make it a part of your teacher meetings, your meetings at work, etc. Every day when I go to bed, I'll ask myself, what was I grateful for today? I tell you, this is life changing for you. Do this early in the morning, do this when you go to bed. What was I grateful for today? And it can be simple things. Somebody helped you carry your bag. As simple as that, right? Recall, give a heartfelt gratitude, thanks to that person or to nature or to something, any object that helped you. I will consciously attempt not to focus and multitask and focus on deep work for one task instead. These can be some of your mindfulness mantras. I think it's important to, in my mind, take baby steps. Small steps lead to, like you're seeing here, when you start saying, oh, I want to imbibe mindfulness, and then you're stuck with nowhere to go. Start with small, small practices. Start today. Set aside during the day to unplug, meditate, right? Take a yoga or meditation class. It's so important that we give self-care. These are all part of taking care of care of yourself. Special meal, to connect with your relatives, family, and enjoy. And at that time, don't be stuck to phone calls and stuff like that. If you're carpooling, going in a bus, you can even, it's a very interesting thing, right? A moment of silence. In your car, you say, can all of us breathe and take a moment of silence? We are not going to be chattering all the time. Start reading many books or articles on mindful living. You'll be beautifully taken to a new world. That's what has been happening to me personally. And then ask the Zen question, now and then in your life, is your mind where your hands are working? Right? I'm talking to you now, my hands are working on the PPT, I'm moving. Is my mind here, or is my mind full of something else? Remember that mindfulness is different from your mind being full of thoughts. It's exact opposite. Your mind is free. Remember, like I told you, the clear road, 5 a.m. road of a busy city. Your brain deserves that. So today could be mindfulness day, but I feel there is no single day for mindfulness. Make every day a day of mindfulness. And I can vouch for you that I'm still on the journey. I have a long way to go, but I made a very good start. I can say that very humbly and with a lot of pride, and patting myself in the back that I started. It's never too late to start. Make every day a day of mindfulness, and you'll see you are transforming. Your life is transforming. Suddenly you see abundance around you. Suddenly you see happiness within you. And that's all we want of life. Thank you so much. Uh, and I think there's one question here that said, how to avoid being in autopilot mode, or is multitasking not important in today's world? See, what is important in today's world is you will what you will do well, right? And when you know that by multitasking, I'm not going to do the task well, then how can that help you in a competitive world? So it's actually counterintuitive. You cannot compete if you're not doing it well. Suppose you look at a chess champion. He cannot say that in a competitive world, I have to make many moves. That single move for that point is what is important for him. So it's a myth if somebody tells you in a competitive world you have to multitask. You may be doing different things, but what multitasking means that doing more than one task at a single point of time, that is not going to work for you. That's the answer I have for this question. Yeah. So it was a pleasure connecting with you all. If you're interested, please, contact us for special sessions on mindfulness. It's become, I would say, a passion for me to talk about this because it's changed my life for the better. I've understood the depth of what life is and you know, how important it is to identify certain things, go deeper within yourself. And I can say that this can be life changing and transforming for each one of you. Again, thanks to my Chrysalis team for giving me this opportunity to speak to people. There have been quite a number of people. I didn't expect so many people to join today. That shows that you're all interested in knowing a lot about mindfulness. I wish I had more time. I wish I could speak more, but I have other tasks and I would rather not multitask. So end this session and then meet you all sometime soon. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you have questions, please write to us and we will see if we can answer these. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, a mindful evening.